What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today I'm going to share with you 3 returns that I recently got back in the mail. As you can tell from the intro, this is a very common themed video. And today we're talking about Houston Oilers, or now known as the Tennessee Titans football team. So all 3 of these are returns from former Houston Oiler players. So we'll jump right into this first one, which is postmarked from, ironically, Houston. And it is former tight end of the Houston Oilers, Mike Barber, in the 1970s. Also played for the Los Angeles Rams in his career. And I also have one of these 4-player cards that I started with him. And I don't know much about the other guys on the cards. I know Jack's not around anymore, but this might be the only person we can get to sign that. I know Robert Brazil does sign through the mail for a small fee, so maybe we can add him to this. So let me tell you about Mike Barber and his career in football. This is Mike Barber, not to be confused with the Mike Barber that played in the 1990s. This is the Mike Barber that played in the 70s and the 80s. Barber attended White Oak High School in Texas, where he played quarterback, passing for over 4,000 yards, and graduated in 1972. He then attended Louisiana Tech University, where he was converted to a tight end. After his time in college, he was selected in the second round of the 1976 NFL Draft by the Houston Oilers. In his first season with Houston, he would only appear in 2 games, but by 1977 he appeared in 13 games, starting 10 of those, and by 1978 he was the full-time starter for the Houston Oilers. Mike would continue this role through 1981, and after the 1981 season, he would join the Los Angeles Rams and appear in 9 games in 1982 for them. He would follow up the 1983 campaign, appearing in all 16 games for the Rams, and then in 1984 would appear in just 11 games, starting 2 of them for the Rams. Going into 1985, he would split time with the Los Angeles Rams and the Denver Broncos. He would appear in 5 games for the Rams and 10 games for the Broncos that season. At the age of 32, this would mark the last year of Mike Barber's pro playing career. In total, he had appeared in 129 games for those 3 franchises throughout his career, amassing a total of 222 receptions for 2,788 yards and 17 touchdowns. After his career in the NFL, Mike stepped away to get into ministry. He also went into coaching at the high school level as a volunteer coach. And after his career in coaching, he focused his main career on working in ministry. And a nonprofit that Mr. Barber set up was called Barber Prison Ministries. And from my understanding, I don't know if he still is involved, with this ministry, or if he's retired from that. I would imagine he still is involved. But what he does is he went around to different inmates throughout the state of Texas and tried to share the Word of God with them. So a very admirable thing that Mr. Barber does after his playing career in the NFL. I think it's pretty neat that he does do those things to spread the Word of God. Very cool to add Mr. Barber to the collection, and we'll move on to the next one. All right, this next one is also postmarked from Houston, and it is former Warren Moon favorite, Haywood Jeffires, or Jeffers. I don't know how you pronounce that. I've always said Jeffries, but I could be incorrect in the pronunciation. But as you can see, these are all pretty cool cards that I sent Haywood. All of them are unique in their own way. I mean, this one has the sideways catch. This is him up close catching, and this is him making a catch or trying to make a catch in the end zone with the snow coming down. Probably a bomb from Warren Moon would be my guess. And this is him getting tackled, it looks like, after a catch. So let me tell you about Haywood Jeffires and his career in football. Haywood was born in Greensboro, North Carolina, where he attended high school at Walter Hines Page High School, and then later his college career at North Carolina State University. At North Carolina State University from 1983 to 1986, he registered 111 receptions for 1,733 yards and 14 touchdowns. In the 1987 NFL Draft, Haywood was the first selection for the Houston Oilers with the 20th overall pick. From 1987 to 1996, Haywood would become a favorite wide receiver in the run-and-shoot era of the Warren Moon offense. I just want to take a time out here real quick to talk about Warren Moon. If you guys haven't caught that episode, I recently got Warren Moon back in the mail a couple weeks ago. Definitely check that out. It'll be linked up here in the corner and also at the end of this video and also below. He would also be incorporated with teammates Ernest Givens, Drew Hill, Webster Slaughter, and Curtis Duncan. During his time, Haywood would make 3 Pro Bowls from 1991 to 93 with the Oilers, and he would also lead the AFC in receptions with 100 in 1991. For career totals, Haywood appeared in 132 games, the majority of those with the Houston Oilers. He played his final season in 1996 with the New Orleans Saints. However, he did play 1 season with the Chicago Bears in 1997. However, he did not get into any games and was just primarily used as a practice taxi squad person. But if you add all his totals up, he was in 132 games for a total of 535 receptions for 6,334 yards for 50 touchdowns. As I mentioned before, made the 3 Pro Bowls and also was a one-time All-Pro. After his playing career, in the 2000s, Haywood got involved with semi-pro football teams coaching in Pure Land, Texas. According to his Wikipedia page, he still resides in suburban Houston and is very involved with the community, assisting in special needs children, and is also in personal appearances, fundraising for those types of groups. So, very happy to add Haywood Jeffires to the autograph collection. One of the best Houston Oilers from that era. Definitely one of the best receivers of that, Warren Moon offense. And we'll move on to the next and final return. Alright, so this next one you may or may not be familiar with because he's been involved with the Houston Oilers and the current Tennessee Titans for a long, long time. And I am talking about former executive of the Titans / former player of the Oilers, Mike Reinfeldt on 1. And there's another 4-player card there. And I also have a 2-player card with Lamar Parrish. Maybe one day I'll be able to get Lamar Parrish to sign that. We'll see. Unfortunately, the 4-player card, I know that Kenny Burrow has passed away, but I know Dan Pastorini is a pretty good signer, so maybe we can get him to sign that as well. So let me tell you about Mike and his career in football. Mike attended the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee and played football for the Panthers. In his last season, he was their team captain in 1974. In his first season in the NFL, he played for both the Oakland Raiders and the Houston Oilers. He appeared in just 2 games for the Raiders that year, but wound up appearing in 11 games for the Oilers that season. The following year, in 1977, he would be a starter in the backfield for the Oilers, where he would appear in 14 of 14 games for the Oilers that season. Mike would continue from 1977 to 1983, being a strong fixture in the backfield for the Houston Oilers. However, he was limited to just 4 games in his final season as a player in 1983. At the age of 30, Mike retired from being a player in the NFL and then found himself getting into different executive positions throughout the NFL. After his playing career, Mike would get involved with working for the Houston Oilers, but he also would have stints working for the Green Bay Packers, also the Los Angeles Raiders, and the Seattle Seahawks. He also would be an associated athletic director at USC in California. Eventually, he would return to the Oilers, and he would go with the franchise and move to Nashville to later become the general manager of the Tennessee Titans. Mike would remain in Nashville and work for the Tennessee Titans until his retirement from the front office. This was actually postmarked from Nashville, so Mike is still living in the area of Nashville to this day. This is somebody that had a huge success post-playing career. He led, the NFL in interceptions that season, obviously, 1979. But this is somebody that found some success as a player and then turned his success as a player into a career that lasted decades in the NFL. So this is a very, very smart individual that went back and got his advanced degree post-playing career that made a career out of working in the NFL. In total as a player, he appeared in 140 games and had 26 interceptions during his career. In 1979, was on the Pro Bowl, the year that he led the league in interceptions. So I hope you enjoyed also learning about Haywood Jeffires, or Haywood Jeffires. If I'm saying that incorrectly, I apologize. I also hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about Mike Barber, who was a longtime tight end for the Houston Oilers. Also finished up his career with Los Angeles, but we'll see if we're able to get any of these 4-player cards signed by anybody else. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this episode. I hope you enjoyed all of these great Houston Oiler returns. I look forward to your comments below. Let me know if you remember any of these guys. I look forward to them, and we'll talk later. Happy collecting.